Hello, gorgeous humans. Happy Holy Friday. Welcome to the morning show. I am your host, Marli Ansel at Marli Ansel on the Instagrams, and this is the morning show where you come to get your daily dose of inspiration and level up into your highest being. It is all about real life, but we make it magical, and there's so much to talk about. So let's dive in. We are doing Friday Q&A. Friday Q&A, by far my most favorite thing in the world. I love just coming on and responding. It's just like one of my most favorite things to do. I love coming on and just answering your questions. So for those of you who don't know, I'm a generator. Generator, sacral authority. My what's it called is to respond. And so there's a magic that comes out when I respond to your questions that may not show up otherwise. So I love it. And today we're diving in. We've got a question queued up. If you have anything that pops up for you while we are live, go ahead and drop it in the chat. Say hello, and we will get to whatever we can get to. So before we dive in, though, there is some big stuff happening. We've already been talking about the eclipses, but now we're moving away from the lunar eclipse. We're moving towards the Aries solar eclipse. And there is a massive conjunction that is currently happening. It has just now gotten within orb of Jupiter and Uranus. Jupiter is the planet of good fortune, abundance, success. It is like the great benefactor. We love Jupiter. We love it. Okay. Anything that Jupiter does amplifies. It ends up being more. It's abundance. Now, can we get in trouble with more and abundance? Maybe sometimes. Sometimes we can overindulge, but I tend to not worry about that. So Jupiter conjunct Uranus in Taurus. So Taurus is it's earth energy. Taurus is very much about the material. Typically, anybody with strong Taurus in their chart is going to have a very materially successful life. It's kind of required for them to feel safe, grounded, supported, all of the things. So Jupiter is good fortune, success, abundance. Uranus is sudden change, and particularly sudden change towards freedom. So Uranus is all about making change for more freedom. Now, sometimes that can be scary for us because sometimes we get attached. We think we know. We think we know how things are supposed to be. And so then we attach to stuff and we actually end up hindering our freedom. So this massive conjunction is good fortune, success, abundance, sudden change towards freedom in the sign of materialism. I mean, so what you want to be looking at is, where is this occurring in your chart? Where do you have Taurus energy in your chart? What house is it in for you? Because that's where you're going to see a big shift. And in truth, it should be beneficial. It should be. Now, our minds can sometimes, like I said, get attached to certain things. And so the sudden change might freak you out. But I want to be here as your voice of reason to let you know that it's a good thing. It's a really, really good thing. So we have that happening in conjunction with this Aries solar eclipse, which is the rebirth, like capital THE, the rebirth that is setting us on a brand new cycle. There's so much happening. I'm here for it. I'm so excited about it. I've been talking with all of my clients about it, looking at their charts and where it's occurring for them. This is a good thing. It's a really, really good thing. And so the Aries in itself is all about the self. So this new beginning cycle is not an arbitrary new cycle. It is a new cycle in you, like with who you be, the self. Desi said Taurus house 2. The second house is your house of money. It is your house of self-worth. It is your house of things you value. So how lovely. Good fortune, abundance, success, sudden change towards more freedom in your house of money. I mean, could you ask for more? Really? Like, let's go. It's in my husband's second house as well. Let's go. So, big stuff is happening. You want to be looking at your Taurus energy. You also want to be looking at what has life been calling on you to initiate in yourself. With this Aries solar eclipse, you are likely going to have a new level of you, like literally a new level of you start to come online, a new identity, a new way of being, a new opportunity within who you believe yourself to be. Things are going to change. That is inevitable. Nothing is staying the same. Okay. We've been preparing for this. Everything that you have been going through in the months, the years leading up to this has been in preparation for this big shift. And so now it's like, ba-boom, we go. And so the next Aries solar eclipse is next year in March. So this is opening a portal for about a year. It's going to be a year of you stepping into this new level of self, a year of you embodying this identity. I'm here for it. I love it. I'm so excited. And it's all conjunct my North Node, which is karmic destiny. I'm just like, get in the roller coaster, strap in, and let's go. Let's just see what happens. This is where I'm at. Okay, let's dive in. The question that we're answering today that I have queued up is how do you personally create or allow the balance between intent, work, and surrender? How do you personally create or allow the balance between intent, work, and surrender? So, this is essentially a question about polarity in terms of masculine and feminine energy. So, masculine energy is the action, the work you put in. Feminine energy is the intention, the energy that's behind the action. And then surrender is the God magic. You don't have any control over that, and you're not supposed to. So, the way that I operate in it and the way that I teach it to every single human that comes through my world is that your action doesn't really matter. I mean, it does, but what you do does not create what you want. The energy behind what you do is what creates what you want. So, in example, I could do all of the right things. Like I could Google, what do I do to get blah, 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 right? And you could have like a step by step list. Do this. Cool. I could do that action. If my energy behind that action is to create, is for something that I want to put out into the world, then I am going to get the thing that I want to create, want to put out into the world through that action. But if my energy is, I need to do this because if I don't do this, then I'm not going to have blah, blah, blah. You are not going to create anything you want. You're going to create more of a situation of you not having what you want. So the energy behind the action is what matters more than anything. And what's really cool about this is that's all you have control over anyway. You don't have control over what your actions end up doing out there. Like your actions are, I don't want to say irrelevant because it is like what you do matters, but what matters more is the energy behind it. That's what's going to create that ripple effect. That's what's going to be returned to you. So whatever energy you put out through your action is what's going to get created in your snow globe, is what's going to come back to you. So if you put out, meaning if you take action from scarcity, scarcity is going to come back to you. That's just the way it is. If you take action from abundance, from creation, from joy, from love, abundance, creation, joy, love is what's going to come back to you. The law of karma, right? It's very, very simple. But we're taught in our society that what you do is what everything is, but it's just not true. It's the energy behind it. And then your action amplifies the energy out. And then that's what's returned to you. So it is more important that you are clear on your intention than you are clear on what you do. It's so wild, I know. But truly, when you're clear on your intention, you will know exactly what action to take. And as you take that action, your intention is going to go out and it's going to create its own fulfillment. Surrender is that process of the in between. You don't control how the plant grows, you only control watering the plant. You see what I'm saying? Like you do not have control over the magic that unlocks or unleashes the plant from the seed. All you have control over is planting the seed with the intent of it growing and nourishing the seed through watering it. The magic that grows the seed, you don't have control over that. That's surrender. You cannot go to the seed and be like, "What can I do to make you grow?" You don't have control over that process, and you're not supposed to. Like, this is that what we hear all the time, let go of the how, let go of the how, let go of the how. You don't have control over that. So your only thing that you can ever do is get clear on your intention and then take the action that you know to take from that intention. So clarification is get clear on your intention. Get clear on your intention, like really clear. Because you could consciously be like, I want to create so much abundance, but the action you take is all out of fear and scarcity. You got to get clear on the energy. This is also how we work smarter, not harder. This is how we don't burn ourselves into the ground. This is how we end up creating a life that we actually want to be living rather than chasing a life that we think we want and inevitably just ending up in that trying frequency, which is just exhausting. Good question. Good question. Okay. So we have, let me find, I had another one queued up, but I didn't put it here. Moment. Okay. How do you operate when it feels like everything is going wrong? How do you operate when it seems like everything is going wrong and you know that life is supposed to be working for you, but it does not feel that way? Okay, how do you operate when you feel like everything is going wrong? So, this is that surrender piece for sure. When you feel like everything is going wrong, the first thing that kind of points to is that you have a very strong expectation of what you think is right, of what you think is the way. And if everything is kind of blowing that up, it's blowing that up on purpose. It is not supposed to be the way. The way that you think it's supposed to go is not the way. And so if things seem to be like chaotic and blowing it up and it's not working, it's not to say that your desire is not what is meant to be. It is to say that the way that you think your desire is going to manifest is not the way. So sometimes life will come in and just blow shit up because you are limiting it. You're constraining it. So it's almost like the universal energy is coming in and trying to blow the box up. Like, stop it. Stop trying to hold on to that. You're limiting us. You're hindering the process. Stop it. And that's where that surrender comes in, because the only reason we would think something went wrong is because we think that we know better than the universe. We know better than God. Like, anytime that you sit there and you try to control something, it is literally you saying, God, you don't know the best way. I do. Do it this way. You know what I mean? So if things are going wrong, let them go wrong and really ask yourself, like, what is this trying to communicate to me? What am I holding on to that I need to let go of? What am I attaching to that may not actually be the way for me? Because a lot of times we attach to things when there is something so much better. And I can attest to this because, I'm human and I've lived this so many times. But like, I have been in the past really attached, just really attached to the way I thought something was had to go, and it was sufferable. But the idea of letting it go felt so scary. Felt like, no, I want this. And it required a whole lot of healing. And that's the thing, is that like your attachments are going to show you where you need to heal, because we don't attach unless we're wounded. I mean, that's just truth. You don't attach to something unless you feel like you need it to feel whole and complete. When you feel whole and complete and steady and grounded in your center, you don't feel like you need anything, because you know that you are the creator of everything. So no matter where you go, what you do, who you be, it doesn't matter, because you know everywhere you go, you take you with you and you've got you. So whenever we find ourselves attached to a certain outcome or attached to a certain way, it's always pointing directly at a place where you are wounded, where you are not trusting yourself, where you're not trusting life, where you are not trusting that there is a path that you are meant to walk and it is supported, like you are supported by life, by the universe, by God, by yourself, is pointing towards where you need to heal. So when things blow up, they blow up for a reason. And all of that is to say too, once you do, 'cause your only options there is continue attaching and suffer, which is going to force you to heal, or surrender the attachment and do the healing work. Like either way, you've got to do the healing work if you want to get past it. But I'll tell you this, once you do the healing work and you surrender the attachment, you will wonder why it took you so long. Because the moment you do it, you're like, "Oh my gosh." Life gets so much better, like in a way that you never could have imagined before. And you are then able to see your past self like attaching and needing things to be a certain way. And you look back and you're like, "Oh, why? Why was I so attached to that? Why did I work? Like, why did I want that so hard?" But you're able to see the wound. When you're in the wound, it's hard to see it. You just feel a whole lot. I mean, this could be a whole program. Like we could talk about this for weeks and weeks and weeks. But when you have a wound that you are healing, obviously I don't mean a physical wound. I mean an energetic wound. A wound is a distortion. You can't see clearly. You've got an attachment to something where you feel incomplete, not whole, not enough, and you feel like you need that in order to be enough. So, in an example, if you have a relationship wound, like a worthiness wound, in that you feel like you have to have a relationship or have to have a partner to feel whole and complete, you are not able to see relationship or the other person clearly. It's going to be very distorted. Like you're not going to be able to see it for the truth of what it is. And you will know if you're in the wound by how it feels. If you feel scarcity, if you feel fear, if you feel graspy, if you feel like you need to control it, make it happen, attached, all of those things are pointing wound. Wound, wound, wound. Do nothing, as in like don't try to force a situation because it's only going to amplify the wound. And so you've got to start looking inward and you've got to start saying like, why do I feel like I need this? Why do I feel like I need this to be whole? What is this pointing to towards? What is this pointing towards that I need to heal within myself? Because as you heal it, you then will emerge out of the wound. You'll let go of the neediness, you'll let go of the graspiness. This is why every program on relationships, every course, I'm not going to say every because there's a lot of people in this world, a lot of the programs and a lot of the courses, what they're going to teach you is to love yourself. They're going to teach you to not seek wholeness and completeness from something outside of yourself because that's a wound. That's not truth. That's not unconditional love. When you heal it within you and you are love and you no longer need the relationship, that's when you're a perfect match for the relationship that you actually want, not the wounded one, right? So once you do that healing work and you surrender it and you're no longer in the wound and you can see the world clearly, you're just like, "Oh, I can't believe it took me so long, so long of just looping in that chaos and in that nonsense before I let it go." And now you've emerged on the other side and you're like, wow, this is so much better. Like, this is so much better. And you'll look back on your old self and you'll be like, what was I thinking? But don't hate on yourself. You got to forgive yourself for the things you did when you were in the wound because you were not able to see things clearly. I mean, this is so, again, we could talk about this for weeks. I'll give you another example. When Robert and I first got together, I had wounding from past relationships of being lied to. Okay. I thought I had worked through it. Okay. I thought I had worked through it. But here's how it played out. Here I'm with Robert, and Robert's motto for life, mind you, my husband, Robert, motto for life is truth and positivity. Okay. Like his motto is like, I'm going to be true to myself and I'm going to look for the positive in everything. Like I'm going to tell the truth and I'm going to be positive in situations. That's his life motto. Okay. And here comes Marley. Do, 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 do. Like, I've got wounding around lying men. Hey. Right? Okay. So, for the first like 6 months of our relationship, that wound was so loud. I was so fearful of him lying about everything. Thank God. Okay. And this is why doing the inner work is so important. I was aware of it. So I didn't project onto him. I didn't accuse him of lying. I knew he wasn't lying. I knew that what I was feeling was mine. This was my wound. This wasn't him. This was me. And so when I felt that like rare up of energy, you know that energy. It's like fear. It feels like fire that rises up. It's just this intense energy that comes over you. Whenever I would feel that, I had to be able to talk to him about it. Now, granted, I know that not every relationship has the space like this. You know, ideally, you want to get to a place like that in your relationship. But in our relationship, again, thank goodness, I was able to speak to him because I understood it wasn't about him, it was about me. But I was able to speak to him and say, I just need to talk to you about this. I just feel that feeling where I think you're lying about this, this, and this. And he was able to hold the space for me, hear me, because he knew that he was not lying. He knew this was a wound that I needed to process out. So he was able to hold that space for me where I could talk about it and process all that old energy out and do that healing work so that I then got to this place of clarity, truth, and now I look back on it and I'm just like, that's so wild that I ever felt that at all. But that's what happens in wounds. When you're in a wound, you can't see clearly. And you've just got to, and again, this comes from doing the work. It comes from being in it and understanding and learning. You've got to be able to recognize when there's a wound playing out. Because when there's a wound playing out, nothing you do is going to be good, like from that energy. You know what I mean? You've got to just do the healing work on that energy. A way that you can know it's a wound is if you're trying to get something else or someone else outside of you to be different. If you're projecting onto somebody else saying that needs to change, they need to be different, this needs to work differently, that you trying to change that outside of you is a direct like arrow that is a wound. Okay. All right, loves. Good questions. Okay, so announcement. Next week, we will not have the morning show. I'm going on vacation. We're taking the week off. I'm not getting up at any certain time. So next week, there will be no morning show, but we will return on April 8th for the Aries solar eclipse. Mind you, get ready for this. Get ready for this. What is life asking you to step up in? Who is life asking you to be? What part of you is coming online that life is like, this is the new level? Step in, fully flourish, nourish this part of you, all the things. So we will be back April 8th with some big energy for the Aries solar eclipse for the next episode of the morning show. Um, feel free to take this time and binge out the old episodes. Do you guys know we're on episode 57? That was aggressive. We've done 57 morning shows. Like, what? So there's plenty of content for you to binge out. Take the time to do it. I am going to be basking in my life and also working on some behind the scenes projects of some things I'm creating for you guys. There's going to be a really, really awesome new thing that's coming very, very soon. So I'm so excited to share that with you. And have a great week. Have a great week. Desi said I'm going to Missouri to see it. Oh, to see the eclipse. Oh, that's cool. We were talking about that. Actually, I think we can go to Asheville and it's like an 85% cover. We were talking about doing that. We might do that. All right, loves. I love you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. Mwah, mwah, mwah. Please share the show with anybody that you think it would benefit. Helps us to grow our impact and get the message out to more people. I love you. Have a beautiful rest of your day. And I'll see you on April 8th.